Hey everyone, Breeze here. You know how this works. I went to an event and played White Forest, and I want to talk about it. Um, I want to shout out my friends in the Dragon Cave and then Pilchat for borrowing cards to me and helping me prepare and always supporting me. So, huge shout out to those. And I also want to shout out Sheen from the White Forest Discord for helping me figure out the line to bridge from White Forest into chess without using the high pointed Nullbringer and Witness combo. So let's get into it. I got top 32 at the EUWCQ Genesys tournament. I'll make a separate video on the main event. But yeah, I made day 2 on the Genesys event and didn't make day 2 on the TCG one. So I ended up playing the day 2 for Genesys and did pretty well. This deck isn't like particularly amazing. I think I did well because like White Forest is my pet strategy. Like I have a lot of time invested into it and I think I'm pretty good at it. And I also got lucky as in drawing the right cards and having opponents misplay and all that kind of stuff. That said, I do think you could make this list a lot better if you spent more time building it. And I just didn't really spend much time on Genesys preparation. It's a 2-card combo deck that utilizes synergies really well and is really explosive when it gets to play. And I do think it has a better time going second into boards than most other Genesys archetypes, except Blitzkrieg, obviously, and some of the other newer stuff. But it's my pet deck, right? So I had to play it. So we played 3LZ, which is 0 points, and it's the best starter in the deck. This is like way better of a card than Sylvie is, so I'm happy that she's 0 points compared to Sylvie. There's 2 Astella in this. You could definitely bump this to 3. It was just vibes. This is another starter because your Sylvie has points, so you don't play 3 Sylvie. I also play Piri Rice Map to search this. There's a lot less cards like Imperm in the format, so Astella is way less bad in Genesys than in the regular format. I played 1 Rusia. This card was really bad. You want it in the deck for Astella, so you have more, like your Astella is dead less often. I had games where I drew both Sylvies and couldn't have resolved Astella without this in my deck. The draw is like whatever. The extender effect is like whatever. It's fine, but I don't think you have to play this. Then this card is 22 points. It's really weird because they gave the entire Azamina engine like a shit ton of points. I still think you want to play this because it's a good extender. It lets you fusion summon, and it gets like an extra Sinful Spoil card for free. You can't really recycle it well. It definitely has issues, but for now I would include this. Then I played 2 Piri Rice Map as extra starters. You could also play the third one here. It's a spell, so you can discard it. You would probably play the third one of this before you play the third Astella. But paying half of your life points is definitely a little bit scary. So that's why I didn't want to play 3 of it. I don't want to start every game with 4,000. I played 2 Tails because of lower quality starter count. You have to make some concessions, and this is like a pseudo starter, like it works with some hands. I had a game where I had both of them in my hand and couldn't activate either of them, which did definitely suck. But it's nice that you have an extra search target for Sylvie in the grind game in a format that's a little bit slower. I played 1 Scourge. This is like a ceiling brick. It helps you have a negate on your end board, which this deck lacks compared to the regular TCG version. It also has the effect where it helps you recuperate from discard costs. I feel like this is like the best White Forest card next to Tails to play if you want to play like more engine. Then I played these 2 Sinful Spoil cards. This is just like generic removal, which is really good, especially if you can search it. Also 0 points. And this card is like very flexible. It also has the effect where it resets itself when you send it, which is nice. But it also helps summon this card from my sideboard, and it helps you like recycle stuff from banishment, and it's just really versatile. I don't think you have to play this, but I'm happy I did play it. Then the 4 Diabell cards, like these two are probably the best cards in the deck next to LZ, because they don't play into Charmies. They help you play into a board really well, and this makes your entire board indestructible, like everything. So it's really good against Blitzclick. I really like this card, and I think I would probably bump this up if I like play another Genesys event before the next points list. There's another spell that you sometimes play in TCG, which is Play the Diabell, which also helps summon this. But Play the Diabell is really good because it also gets you to Black Witch in the TCG, and this list can't, like, Genesys can't afford to play Black Witch, so I decided not to include it. I don't think it's good in Genesys. I don't think I would ever play. But yeah, you could bump up like White Witch and maybe Curse. Like Curse is a good discard, especially with Problem. Then speaking about the chess cards, I played 3 Problem and 3 Disturbance. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, E4 has 0 points. I don't know why I didn't include it in my list. Maybe I should try that card a little bit. But I settled on D6 for now. Yeah. So Problem is really good going second if it ever resolves. Like if they pop it, you're really sad. But if it's your last push into a board, the chess engine is very, very powerful. And there's no Fallen Individuals to hit this. Usually, if you've baited out 1 or 2 interrupts and you can go into chess engine, you're gonna win. It's really, really strong. And I really like the synergy because this engine generates a lot of spell traps for you to send for your White Forest cards, and has like genuinely really good synergy. Then I played the reframing for visas to add. You could play like Heartbeat instead to have a card that's not dead when you go second, but this deck doesn't end on negates, so I feel like this is needed, especially with how easy the Visa Synchro is to summon. So far, there's not that many points in here. It's just the Azamina LZ with 22 and the 2 Sylvie with 5 each, so it's 32 points so far. So there's actually a surprising amount of non-engine space for this deck. I decided to play 3 Fuva. My good friend Johannes Bauer made me play these, and I'm thankful for all the help he's given me. We both underestimated how good Blitzclick was gonna be. These were really bad into Blitzclick, obviously, but I still think it's like a really good card. Depending on what they do to Blitzclick, this might stay in my deck for Genesys. Then I played 3 DD Crow. It's just like cheap graveyard hate. I really like DD Crow. It's really pretty too. I like the artwork. And I think for 1 point, it's like one of the best hand traps you can run. Then I played 1 Whaler. Whaler is 8 points, which does hurt, but the fact that you can search this in your combo if you have too much engine is like really nice. It's like an extra layer on top, and sometimes you can summon this off Astella. Like there is a world where it could come up to summon it off Astella. So I would definitely keep playing the 1 Whaler. Then I played 2 Chalice. I would play the third, but it was like the cut for points, basically. This is just like imperm, but like worse, obviously. But like for 1 point, I don't think there's really anything you can play over this except for Crow. That's worth the 1 point. Then I played 1 Pair Bear Scare. I wasn't convinced on this card, as in like playing 3 of it, because it is just dead if your opponent also plays 1. But I was like, I want to have 1 in my deck to reveal if my opponents activate it. And worst case, if I don't want to activate it because they shown me that they play it, then I'm just gonna discard it for Problem or any of the White Forest effects. So I was happy that I played the Pair Bear Scare. And then the last non-engine I played was 3 Final Bringer. I'm really happy with this card as well. Overall, MVP, it helps you dodge cards like Chalice. It helps you prevent your cards being destroyed by blitzclick effects. It's really good against something like Mimighoul, where it helped me win by dodging the negative effects of Mimighouls on my field. And it's just like a very versatile card. I would definitely recommend playing this again, unless they start putting points on it, which they definitely might. For the extra deck, I played Queen, which is 25 points, and as odd as that sounds, I think I wouldn't play this again. I think I would cut this. I think I would do something else with my 25 points and just always summon Rook or Visas. Of course, this card is really good. It's really cool. It's really nice. It's very like play. It has a lot of playmaking, and adding back a spell is nice. But it's very aggressively costed. I think 25 is too much, and I think the deck is better if you cut this and put those 25 points elsewhere. These two you have to play, of course. This is like generic searcher for the archetype and also adds Veiler. It gives your board a little bit of disruption protection as well, because this card says your synchro monsters that are illusion or spellcaster can't be destroyed by card effects. And this is like the premium interrupt of the engine. It's a Book of Eclipse on legs that's not once per turn. And going second into a board, it's amazing, and summoning it of Vengeance is amazing. Even if you cut the Queen, you can still summon this on the opponent's turn. Then I played Zapper Shrimp, but I never actually summoned this card, I think. I don't think I summoned this at all. It's just like you could summon it off Queen to out a back row and climb into a 10, but I never did it. I think you just cut this alongside Queen and do something else with your extra deck space. This guy I summoned a lot. It helps make your board better by giving you a counter trap. It's very easy to summon because you can make it with 2 tuners, so you can make it with Rusia and Sylvie, or you can make it with Pawn and one of the archetype Synchro 6s, which is really nice. And it can make your bodies bigger by boosting your attack by 800, which comes up to get over stuff. So this guy I would definitely play again because he's 0 points. He's technically an end board piece by giving you the trap, and you could just get rid of him and the trap still works. So yeah, I like this card. I also like the Fabled Levilasabul. It's a bit sad that he doesn't do anything going into a board. But like going first, or making him in the opponent's turn with Shrimp was the idea. This would still be my Synchro 10 of choice going forward. The non-targeting negate and steal is really unique and really powerful as an interrupt. Then Vengeance Dragon is technically part of the combo line to go into the chess engine, so he's definitely mandatory in this build. I'm not really the biggest fan of the card, but you have to play it in this. He's fine. Like the battle phase effect sometimes comes up as well. And then we played the chess engine. This should be a king. I had to borrow the card, so that's why the sleeve is empty. I had to give it back. It should probably be two kings and 1 rook instead of 2 rooks and 1 king. But I only had 1 king. But also, rook is a bit better in terms of levels. Like the on-field effect of king is better. But rook being an 8 sometimes matters for going into the 12 or going into the 10. So I didn't really miss the second king much. But the chess engine was really good. And I feel like 6 is the minimum amount that you have to play. Basically, it adds the potential to negate with the trap card. It's a pseudo floodgate with the king only letting your opponent activate 5 monster effects, and like it burns them with the horse. But usually, if you have too many of them in the spell trap zone, you make this guy, because it's a free extender and going second into a board, he like outs a body, which is really nice, and he's 3k attack helped with OTKing. This is the only Azamina fusion I decided to include because it's 0 points. You make this if you have Vengeance in hand and Azamina LZ on field. Then you go Azamina LZ to fuse Vengeance and Azamina LZ into this. This rebonds Azamina LZ, so you don't lose the body, you only lose the Vengeance in hand, but it can summon itself from grave, so you don't really lose anything. This is just extra for free on top. And what it does is, if you use Vengeance or any other Sinful Spoil, you get to chain it and pop 2. Like the Dracotail fusion. Like, it has to be immediately in response to your Sinful Spoil card. But sometimes this just like lets you pop 3 of one Vengeance activation. So I really like it. And I think it's worth it, the one spot in the extra deck. And then for the side deck, I have 4 cards in main that I always want to side out when I go first. Subversion, the Sinful Spoil that puts something in the back row, and the 3 Fuva. And my 4 going first cards of choice were the 1 Dire Bells to floodgate my opponent with anti-spell on legs, and the 3 Gravity Collapse. I'm not gonna lie, Gravity Collapse seems really broken. Every time I resolve this card, I instantly won the game. Just turn skipping your opponent, especially because pawn is so free to summon, is really, really broken. So, like, if you're playing chess engine, Gravity Collapse is extremely busted. It's extremely powerful, and I hope they put points. I hope they put points on this card soon. It generates so many non-games. As long as it's 0 points, I would definitely recommend you play it. I played 3 Doggo Round because I saw it a lot in topping lists. I summoned this like 1 time. I picked Doggo Run as my kaiju of choice because of defense. Because like you summon it and then you book it with Silvera, and when you beat over it, you do double piercing. So that's why I picked Doggo Run, but it doesn't really matter which kaiju you pick, honestly. I don't think this is mandatory. Like I barely decided this in. It was fine. Like, it's not bad. It's okay. You can definitely play other cards in that slot though. I played 2 Skullmeister, and 2 Twin Twister. On Thursday, I wanted to replace these Twin Twisters with my body as a shield, and there was so much Blitzclick that my body probably would have been good, but Vidos also would have been good, and either of the two should have probably replaced the Dogoran because of how much Blitzclick was there. Twin Twister was good, has good synergy with the chest trap, and with the last card in my sideboard. It's just like, you always feel safer in a tournament if you have some kind of back row removal, and Skullmeister is just a free hand trap, like it's 0 points, and definitely has some matchups where it's really good, like Fairy Tail, like Dragon Rulers, like chess cards, like you could negate the trap with this, right? Yeah, I think Skullmeister was good enough to play. And then the spice in the sideboard, basically my favorite engine that I played, was 1 Dino Wrestler Pancratops for the last 5 points to get to 100 points, and 3 World Dino Wrestling. The idea behind this is, it's like Blackout in my modern version, in my TCG version of the deck. You discard World Dino Wrestling for LZ, Astella, Rusia, Arciela, Problem, Twin Twister, whatever you discard it for, and then in the graveyard you can banish it for cost to summon a Pancratops from your deck. And this is 5 points, and 3 Blackout Loves would have been 30 points. This is obviously less powerful than 3 Blackout, but 5 points versus 30 points is obviously like way easier to fit into your deck. So that's it for the deck profile. I'm gonna go over a combo for bridging into the chess engine, and for a combo when you draw both engines. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about what other cards I would include, because I didn't spend that much time building the list. So let's get right into it. So this is the list that I played. As you can see, I decided to not play a lot of points in my sideboard, only the Pancratops, and I think that is very much correct. I think you want the powerful pointed cards in your main and extra deck as wherever applicable. Let's get into the first replay. So this is just LZ with any spell trap. You obviously discard the spell trap to summon LZ and add Sylvie. Then you normal summon Sylvie and add Tails with it. Then you make the Synchro 6 Arciela and pitch the Tails. And then you add Azamina LZ. set back the tails and activate the tails to add White Witch. Then you summon Azamina LZ for free with her own effect, and then you synchro them off into the Rook. This might seem weird. You obviously add any Sinful Spoil. I'm just adding Subversion here because I'm gonna discard it. And then you reborn Sylvie. You might be wondering, why are we summoning the Rook? It doesn't do anything on the board. Well, because we climb into the Dragon to place the Rook from the grave, which gets us into the King, and then the King adds us the Trap, which we then discard for White Witch, which then gets us to the problem for free. This bridge is really, really vulnerable to like any sort of hand trap, but like you want to have a powerful combo, and it's not really that unreasonable for your 1.5 card combo in Genesys format to lose to a hand trap. But basically, that now that we've used the trap to add problem, we use problem to place the pawn on the board and the horse. Horse gets us another copy of problem for follow-up. And here we use the rook and the horse to go into Doomed Dragon, because we had to banish the trap. We don't have the pawn as an interrupt on the opponent's turn. We're gonna turn rook, horse, rook, knight, and pawn into an interrupt using Snake Eyes Doomed Dragon to make a Fabled Levilasable, which is the non-targeting negate and steal. And then we summon Vengeance Dragon from our hand. So this board is the Floodgate effect of Shatranga. We are immune to destruction on our monsters with White Witch. We have a pop of Vengeance, which then summons the Book of Eclipse. And we have a non-targeting negate and steal, which is like 3 interrupts plus a Floodgate, plus you can pop in battle phase with Vengeance Dragon, which realistically won't come up that often, but it's like nice to have. Plus we had 3 other cards in hand, right? So usually you would hope that there's at least 1 or 2 more non-engine that you can set, like a Final Bringer or a Forbidden Chalice or an Effect Veiler. But yeah, this is the end board of LZ and the Spell or Trap. And here's the combo with LZ and Disturbance. So we do the same play again. We activate LZ by pitching the trap, but this time we don't have to bridge into the chess engine because we already discarded the trap, right? So instead of making the rook here, we can summon the Visa Synchro 8 or the queen, whichever you prefer, depending on your hand. Like I said, I think I would cut the queen because I think this is just more powerful or like good enough to get the counter trap here. And then like in the previous combo, we don't reborn Sylvie here, but we activate the trap card. We get to the chess engine, send the Sinful Spoil that we added, or whichever like spell trap we don't need in hand, to summon pawn, place rook, place king, and then king adds the trap. So this time we have the trap as an interrupt, so we don't have to get rid of the pawn in this board. So instead, we send the field spell for white and get to our Vengeance, which solidifies our end board by giving us destruction, protection, and 2 more interrupts in the form of Pop and Book of Eclipse. Or technically, you could also summon this and add a Veiler on their turn. But yeah, basically the idea here is we have the counter trap with Visas, we have the negate trap with Disturbance by giving them pawn, we have the Floodgate effect of Shatranga, and then we have Vengeance. This comes out to be about 5 interrupts plus the Floodgate effect of a 2-card combo, which doesn't seem that impressive, but this is the sort of deck where you have to freestyle a lot depending on your hand. If you draw more engine cards, like if you've already drawn tails in your starting hand, you can add Scourge instead, which adds another interrupt to your board. If you have drawn a discard like Trap, or like extra copies of Trap, or you have drawn Curse maybe, you can add Susurrus to your end board because you don't need to discard the Subversion that I've been discarding in the lines that I just showed you. And basically, I feel like the combo lines that I just showed you, they give you a good idea about how the deck works, but on average, you're gonna have more interrupts than those because you draw 5 cards. And if you use them, like if you create good synergies between the cards in your hand, you can usually increase the ceiling of a deck like this by a lot. If you have questions about the combo lines or the deck list itself, feel free to leave comments down below. There's just one more thing I want to talk about. This is like a little bit of a cheat sheet for me, like cards I did talk about. So Fuwa was obviously a little bit dead against Blitzkrieg. I talked about these cards. 50-50 in this deck can act like a Foolish Burial Goods, because Curse also triggers when banished. And unlike Foolish Burial Goods, this card isn't any points. You would probably have to play a brick in form of DD Post to make this worth it. But Genesys is probably the sort of format where you could make this happen. Then, like I said, I want to cut the queen and put my points into something else. Yeah, I did talk about my body. Nibiru, Bell, Ogre, and Droplet are probably the sort of cards you would want to play if you have points free from not playing queen. Nib in particular is a big problem for this deck because we don't end on, like, we don't make a negate in our combo line to prevent Nib from like nuking our board. So I have some ideas in the sideboard here where you could probably do something with Immortal Dragon, play like a Golden Lord if you want to level modulate, and climb into this guy, Arms of Genex Return 0, to have a nip out. Or you could play Tri-Edge Master as a Synchro 6 that draws one, which you then turn into Crystal Wing. Also as like an alternative idea to have a Nibiru out. But those are just like ideas I've been spitballing in my head while I was thinking about recording this video. I don't really have a concrete combo line for these in mind just yet, but I'm sure someone can come up with a line that makes use of either of these two to not lose to Nib as hard. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon with the next, hopefully, White Forest topping deck profile.